Welcome everybody to my review of the inner frame for the Master Grade Destiny Gundam. So let's take a closer look at the inner frame itself. As you can see here, you can have a view of the pilot. Moving down, you can see I put some armor pieces on the legs to demonstrate some of the function of the inner frame. But as you can see, there's an incredible amount of detail in this inner frame. The torso area is one of the most interesting parts of the inner frame. If we turn around here, now we're looking at the back of the upper torso. If you move the arm, notice these parts will actually move, as you can see there, which is really cool, and it's very rewarding to put that together and to see how that works. So it's definitely worth showing off as part of the inner frame review. Very cool. This kit also has exceptional ab articulation. You can move the upper torso to the right as well as to the left. Looking at the torso from the side, you can see that the same joint allows the upper torso to move forward or back depending on how you want to position the model. So you have this range of motion forward as well as range of motion to the back, like that. As you would expect with most Master Grade kits, the elbow can actually do a full bend. Now granted, this is without the armor on, but it should be able to pull off a similar bend with all the armor on. And of course I'll show that in the actual full review of this model kit. As you would expect with most Master Grades, the finger articulation is very nice. These three fingers here are on their own ball joint. The index finger has its own ball joint, and the thumb here has its own ball joint as well. So one of the more unique features of this kit is how the hip joints can be locked together or locked spread apart, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Right now you can move the hips out just a little bit, but what you're really supposed to do to get them to move out in place is actually there's a slider here on the crotch area. Right now it's all the way to the forward position. If I move that back to the back position and lock it in place, now the hip joints are spread apart and they're pretty much locked in that position, as you can see. So if you move the kit around, you're not going to have the legs flop back into the crotch area, which is nice. So I think this allows for more dynamic posing, and it's a really nice feature, really nice mechanical feature of this kit. And you could leave the slider halfway between locked and unlocked, or halfway between the front and the back lock positions, and the legs can go freely in and out like that. But like I said before, to lock them in place either all the way to the forward or all the way to the back. So now to move on to the hip joints themselves. The hip joint can articulate out like this, which of course moves the leg out like that. And this piece here is actually made of hard plastic. It's not a polycap, it's hard plastic. So I think that lends some strength to this joint and won't wear out as much as a polycap would over time. And here is a look at the articulation for the legs. Now I left the right leg here bare, there's no armor on it, and that's so that I can demonstrate the mechanics of the inner frame and how everything moves around. And of course you don't really see this at all when the armor is completely on. So let's take a look. First focus on this area right here. This is really neat. If you move the leg back a little bit, you can see how that articulates like that. If you look at the knee area itself, you bend the knee. You have this piece here that moves back and forth. Alright, so here's a look at the other leg. This is the left leg with some armor on it. Focus on this section here as I bend the leg back. As you can see there, very nice, very cool effect with the shifting armor. It shifts as you bend the leg. If you take a look at the knee armor here, I bend the leg a little bit, it actually moves back and forth. And these are actually separate pieces that you cut off the tree, and they attach at two different points on that joint over here, allowing the armor to shift in a very cool fashion. There actually is a piston effect. These are actually two different pieces here, one that covers the smaller piece, and as you articulate the ankle, you get a very nice piston effect. Okay, so I hope these reviews of the inner frames of these Master Grade kits encourages some of you who have not built a Master Grade to go out and build one. It really actually re-sparked my interest in building Master Grades, because before I was kind of like, oh, it was too much time and I like building high grades or whatever, but I'm really starting to get back into building Master Grades, especially after assembling these inner frames and reviewing them. It really allows me to appreciate the mechanics that goes into designing the inner frame. And most of the time you don't really see the inner frame because it's going to be covered with all the armor. So thanks for watching. This has been my review of the inner frame for the Destiny Gundam Master Grade Kit.